I think he can still rush for 1,000 yards, but he's got to be on the right team. Is this the right team? I don't think so because their line is not good enough, but he will have more opportunities. He will make this offense better immediately.
Gosh,
yeah. Give it to me.
No, I'm just
Steve's going to be on my side for once.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I can tell.
I used to say it all the time. Oh man, I've never felt better. Year 11, man, I felt like crap. I mean, I felt terrible.
But you tell nobody.
Right? You got to lie about it.
That's why I said I took nothing less out of him.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to say that.
Of course he's going to say that. Here's my issue. You mentioned it. The offensive line is absolute trash, and this offense. You look at the way they run their offense. This is not. You're not getting David Johnson. Adrian Peterson has never been good in pass protection. He can't catch the football. Like, I just.
And if people don't know, David Johnson, the reason he was so great last year is he was their second best wide receiver.
Right.
He
splits outside. He splits outside the number. It's just going to be a different offense. So if you think you're getting that kind of production out of Adrian Peterson, I just think you're wrong.
It is more conducive to his style than New Orleans was, because I don't know that there's any team less.
Well, he'll get more touches.
And they're in the shotgun less. Like Adrian Peterson was always a guy, he really liked a 2 running back formation, if we're being honest. But at least if it's going to be 1 running back, have the quarterback under center. They're going to do that more in Arizona.
Do they even carry a fullback on their roster in Arizona? What? Because he likes to. He's always been a 2-back.
Correct.
I formation. He had a fullback in Minnesota.
Right.
You know.
You know what he also had in Minnesota? The ability he no longer has. And I feel like I have to say this every time. Adrian Peterson is one of the 2 best running backs of his era. He and LaDainian Tomlinson, if you want to say Adrian's the best, awesome. If you want to say LT's the best, awesome. But worst case, he's the second best of the last, 20-some years, 15-plus years. But that doesn't mean he's still even an above-average football player. And so Chris has been a believer that in the right system, he still has the ability to be productive. I think you could design a system exclusively around him, and he's a 3 yards per carry back at this point.
I guarantee if he played for the Dallas Cowboys, he'd rush for 1,000 yards.
Okay.
See, I don't have any issue with that statement. I just look at Arizona and say the system is not the system that he's accustomed to, and the offensive line, to call them average is an insult to average things. Average is going, whoa. Do not call me that.
Look, as good as he is, the thing I don't want to hear is him complain anymore. A guy that was that good, that's one of the 2 best. Don't complain about playing time and touches. Now just go play. Like, you didn't work out the first team this year. Get out there and go do it.
He had to complain about touches.
Well, and
to get out of where he was.
I mean, he was the 13th running back in New Orleans.
Okay, so now he's here. So now play.
I don't like when athletes talk.
I don't like complaining.
Except for one athlete that really needs to talk, and we'll talk about that later.
Is it Danny Ainge?
Yeah, go ahead.
He had a lot to say.
We ain't talking about
Moving on to the drama surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, more specifically, you can have mine. More specifically, Ben Roethlisberger after his fight. We're all just saying words now. Words are just happening. No one's really following anything. After his 5-interception game on Sunday, Ben said he wasn't sure if he had anything left. Then Tuesday, he said he was one of the best to ever play the game. And then Wednesday, he had even more words to say.
That's fine. They can question myself. The ones that are close to me don't question me. That's what matters. It doesn't. No offense to any of you guys, but it doesn't really matter to me how you guys question me or not, or the quote-unquote professional talking heads on the other sports networks that are out there that are supposed experts and things like that.
You said you woke up, this week confident. What brought you to that point?
To be confident. 2 Super Bowls, 100 and some wins, 300 and some. I don't even know my stats, but doing this, playing this game longer than you've probably been covering it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, just slap that resume on the table.
Yeah.
Spicy.
I wish I would have been there.
Very nice.
What would you? How come? Why would you?
Oh, number 2, for one, you ain't been playing longer than I've been covering it, and you weren't as good as I was.
Oh, because you took the professional talking heads
Yeah.
at various networks. He's calling you out personally.
He can't call me out because Ben knows better, and I know Ben's history. This is not new. Ben's been complaining, whining for a long time. This is part of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. This is new to some other people, but this is not new to me.
Ben likes the attention. That's
Mark,
sure.
so coming up for Ben and his team, the Steelers, is the Kansas City Chiefs. How would you break this one down? Or if you want to go with the Ben angle, talk about where Ben's head is right now leading into this game?
I would say this. NFL players have a lot of pride. NFL teams have a lot of pride. What happened to the Steelers last week?
What happens when you get embarrassed, Mark?
Right.
Since we've been around the league.
Yes. When you get embarrassed like that, man, you come out and your attention to detail is it's just much cleaner. Your practices are sharper. The one thing you want to be able to do is you want to wash that taste out of your mouth, because that is a bad taste. And they'll go back and look at that film, and that is a hard thing to stomach. And especially for Ben, because, you look at the 5 interceptions, a couple late. Two of the pick sixes were tip balls. Ben has been one of the best quarterbacks that have played this game in his generation.
Yes.
There is no question. You cannot argue that. He's a great player with a lot of pride. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team has a lot of pride. They were embarrassed. And when you look at Kansas City, as good as Kansas City is at 5-0, they have some fatal flaws. They have not
fatal flaws.
Sure. They have not defended the run. Last couple of weeks, they have not defended the run very well. They have given up a bunch of hits and a bunch of sacks on their quarterback. Now, the thing about their quarterback is the guy just refuses to turn the ball over. So that keeps him in games.
Yeah, and he won't throw the ball away, so he'll hold it and take a sack.
Right. And so I look at this. Are they a beatable team? Sure, certainly the Kansas City Chiefs are a beatable team. And you've got kind of this wounded tiger theory. You wounded tiger in the corner of the room, man, that thing's going to come out clawing. And that's what the Steelers are right now.
So that's interesting. I don't know that I've watched the Chiefs this year and felt they had a bunch of fatal flaws. I think every team's beatable, but I think the Chiefs have clearly played like the best team in the league. They've beaten some very good teams.
I'm not going to argue that. They have. They have.
But in your defense, here's something that I looked up last night that I could not believe. CeCe, the very first play of the Chiefs season, they hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt, and what happened? He fumbled it. They turn the ball over. He's your JW, he's CC, but no problem.
I actually knew that.
So since that moment, how many turnovers do the Chiefs have?
Probably zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
The Chiefs turned the ball over in the first play of their season and have not turned the ball over one time since. So
how long is that going to continue?
Well, that's to Mark's point, which is a lot of teams going to look really good if they essentially go 5 games without a turnover. Right. And how are the Chiefs, you mentioning that they have some issues potentially on defense, they're obviously not facing any short fields. Because why do you face a short field? Because turn the ball over, or if your kick coverage is terrible, and Dave Talbot, the special teams coach, is probably the best in football, maybe a head coach level talent as a special teams coach. So for those reasons, I understand what you're saying, because you're not going to go this season not turning the football over. As far as the Steelers go, when I heard Ben say those things, CC, you know what it reminded me of? KD's fake Twitter. Reminded me of a guy, at least Ben was doing it with his own name on it. He is arguing with people about doubts he has himself. When he's saying, like, oh, check my resume. Look at what I've done. I know how good I am. I feel like that is coming from a place because the questions he is being asked are questions there's somewhere in his head. He's like, am I as good as I was? Have I lost something? What is going on?
The reason these questions even exist is because you contemplated retirement in the offseason.
And you brought it up.
And you talked about it.
You started it.
And that's why they exist. Now, you started it. You talked about it. You came back. The offense has struggled. This offense hasn't been as dynamic of players as you have on this offense. This offense has not been good this year. So you started the dialogue. Now people are asking you the questions, and you're offended by the questions that are being asked. You should have kept your mouth shut.
That's what you said. It was a distraction on Sunday, and then he brought the distraction up on Monday. Then he brought the distraction up again on Wednesday. Then he's going to bring the distraction. He's keeping it going, and that's what the problem is.
But also, when you're a star player, you have to defend your play. And right now, that's what he said after the game. In joking, he said, well, maybe I've lost it, kind of tongue-in-cheek. But the reporters took it. He said it. So that was the next follow-up question was, can you still play? Do you still have it? Like, are you good enough? Or is your mind still into it? Because of the other things that you said. So Ben opened the door. The reporters walked through the door. And he's not going to be able to silence the critics or the talking heads until he starts playing at the level of being one of the greatest players of his era. So all those things are not stuff the talking heads are talking about. This is all stuff that Ben brought up.
I was going to ask you guys right now, do you think this team has the heart, the intestinal fortitude to essentially back up their quarterback? to go out there and play well, to go out there and turn a page, because, you know, ultimately Ben's feeling attacked. Now, he brought it on himself, but you understand that he's feeling attacked. Do you have enough rallying, kind of the rallying cry in your own locker room to go out there and play well for your quarterback?
I think the Pittsburgh, and I think Mike Tomlin, this is the task at hand. How do I bring these individuals into performing as a team? Because right now, Ben trying to save his own reputation. Antonio Brown, he's got his own brand, and business is booming. Le'Veon Bell, he needs his money. Like, he'd like to win, but his money is more important than winning. So how Tomlin does that, going on the road to the best team in the NFL, like, that's a tough task.
You're coaching a bunch of independent contractors right now. And you know what independent contractors get you? Losses.
Well, the amazing thing, though, about the NFL, because it's only 16 games, everything we've said about the Steelers is true. If they do what you think they can do and go into Arrowhead and win on Sunday.
Oh, a statement game like you and Jim. Oh, statement
And they're 4-2.
Oh,
they're back in good shape.
We're back in business.
Right, back in business.
Yesterday we talked about this fractured Pittsburgh Steelers team. I brought it up and you guys said, hey, some families, this is the way life works for them. They like the fighting. They
some
like
families
all the
get divorced.
Some do, but this has been the team that seems to win with all the friction and the fractured themes going throughout it. Anyway,
I grew up in the projects. We do things a lot different than people.
I'm picking up on that. Mark, please don't leave, because there's drama in New York. This is
They ain't got no projects. They ain't got no projects. They got ice. They got cold.